having a good education is the start of, well, success in your adult life. Pathways to Education does that. And here to tell me more about it is Roger Romero and Myles Franklin. So glad you could join me today. So tell me about Pathways to Education.
So Pathways to Education here at Kingston came in 2010. So the program started in 2010. And it's really based on a need in the Kingston community to increase graduation rates in two specific neighborhoods. And those neighborhoods are Rideau Heights and Inner Harbor. And so those are the two neighborhoods that we support. And during that time, before 2010, young people were twice as likely not to graduate from high school simply because they live in a neighborhood or based on a postal code. And so there was a need in the community to help young people not only graduate from high school, but that move on to post-secondary education, meaningful employment and skilled trade is our outcomes. And so since 2010, we've been supporting a lot of young people in the North End. As of spring of last year, we have 500 graduates, so 500 alumni in our program.
Really?
So we're very excited to share those results with the community.
Yes, it's only, what, 10 years? No, 12 years that you've been, wow. That is really quite impressive, and you're one of the 500.
I am.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I am an alumni of the program. I was enrolled in Pathways throughout my whole time in high school, from 2014 to 2018, and I've since become an employee for the organization, working here for the last 11 months.
Well, someone who's been through it, because yeah, you've walked the the path, and yeah, that's. So the whole time, the whole 4 years, and then you went on to post-secondary.
I did. So yeah, so every year that I was in the Pathways to Education program, I would receive a scholarship that I could access upon graduating high school. So by the time I finished high school, I enrolled in St. Lawrence College. Through the help of Pathways, they actually helped me not only explore career opportunities, but helped me choose what program I wanted to be in, helped me apply to OSAP, and in 2021 I graduated from Police Foundations at St. Lawrence College, with a major portion of my tuition actually covered through Pathways, the scholarship I received.
So to get the scholarship, you either must be incredibly bright or a really hard worker, or both.
It was more just about being an active participant at Pathways and attendance. I like to think that, yeah, I did strive. Pathways made a big difference in encouraging me to not only maintain my grades and attendance throughout high school, but to actually be the first person in my immediate family to pursue any sort of post-secondary education. So that was big for me, big for my family. And I would say too that without the incentive from that scholarship, me and many other Pathways students probably wouldn't have even considered attending post-secondary education.
It was like the carrot.
It was.
Yeah. So what does Pathways do that a regular high school doesn't do?
I get asked this question a lot, and so we do have what we describe as a secret sauce, but it's not so secret. The reality is that what we do differently than a lot of other organizations and other systems is that we provide every young person in our program works with a graduation coach, and that graduation coach is very experienced, very knowledgeable about how to navigate really difficult systems, right? As Myles described, about half the students in our program will be the first in their families to head off to post-secondary. So you got to imagine going to post-secondary is like, I kind of describe it as going to the moon. It's going to this new frontier where you have no idea of what to expect. And so our staff are very knowledgeable and connected in those realms. So we provide that caring, consistent, unconditionally supportive adult that for the reality is not all young people have that in their lives. And it's important that we do that. So that's actually the secret sauce. That's what we do. But amongst that, we like to have a wraparound approach to supporting students. We provide after-school academic supports, mentorship opportunities, things like field trips. We do a lot of land-based learning. We do things like campus tours. We do provide a really rich food security program to make sure that students have enough food, enough basic needs to attend post-secondary and to go to high school, because it's not always easy to do that with the economy and the way that things are going in our society. But the secret sauce is those caring, consistent adults that are trained, that have speciality and specialization in supporting young people. And so they're kind of the jack of all trades, but they really do have a really great connection. And when we think about the success, you described it as the scholarship as a carrot. when we ask young people what really what was really important to them in the programs, it's always that kind of caring, consistent adult that will support them and be there unconditionally, which is something that's very unique to our program specifically.
It's a mentorship, and you know, I think we could all use a mentor at every stage of our life. We could use that one person who's maybe walked the same path we're walking, and just kind of unconditional, I think is the secret word there. And so, Myles, did you find that you've got you had friends and so on? What was their reaction when you said, "Well, I'm going to get into this"? Because you know, sometimes going to school just isn't the coolest thing you could be doing. What was it like?
It was. I never had a problem with anyone not accepting it. Most of my friends were actually enrolled in the program with me, and they encouraged me to join with them. And like Roger said, the key to Pathways, and as important as the academic support is and how much it helped me throughout high school, the biggest thing was the presence of the consistent adults. I will say they were there not only for the academic support, but just through the general guidance through many of the adverse experiences we were facing as teens. When I was in grade 9, 2 months after I had initially joined the program, one of my parents suddenly died, and Pathways actually connected me to a volunteer they had at the time named Ryan. And just having Ryan there, someone to talk to, play sports with, made a big difference in me being able to be resilient at that time.
I can imagine. Wow, what a thing to go through at such a young age. Yeah. Did you have brothers and sisters that?
Yeah, I have sisters, and they're older than me. I really wish they had had the opportunity to be involved in Pathways too. I think it really would have helped them as well. Fortunately for me, Pathways had just started, I think a couple years before I had joined it, so it was great timing for me.
And have you convinced other people to get involved with Pathways now?
Absolutely. I got, back then too, I got some of my friends to join with me, and it helped us all really stay connected too. And you know, the older we've got, we've only grown to appreciate the time we had in Pathways more. And it really is amazing to see how much the program has evolved, even since I've been in it, thanks to funding from organizations like the United Way. Good
point. So, where do people, how do they find you? You know, like I think a lot of people have never heard of Pathways to Education, so how do you find people like Myles and the people he's brought in? Where do they come from?
That was a very big challenge when we started in 2010, was how do we, you know, the program has all these really great supports, and it was really challenging because it almost seemed too good to be true, because we were offering scholarships, we were offering incentives to participate, free academic supports. And so in the early days it was very difficult. We did have we have a site, a location at Weller Ave, our core site, and then we started building really strong relationships with community, including school boards, United Way, and so they're helping us create that kind of momentum in the community. And so we now have a really great social media presence. We're on basically every social media platform. We have a really great website, KCHC /pathwayseducation.ca, where people can find out more about us. But we think about how do we share our story. That's the biggest challenge, is because we invest our resources in supporting young people and not into marketing and not into those other things. So that is a challenge for us. And I think for conversations like this is why we speak to the community, because we want to ensure that everyone understands that our services are available and that we can support more young people with connection. But we can never do it alone, and we don't expect to. We want to make sure we connect with community members, connect with supporters, whether it's investing your financial resources or sometimes even as simple as investing time. We do have community volunteers, as Myles described. He had a volunteer that made a massive impact in his life, and so even a small investment with time can really make a massive impact, like Myles described there. So it's very important to understand that.
So tell me about the volunteers. Do you need more volunteers? Do you want more people to say, you know what, I feel good about getting involved in mentoring? Is that something?
Yeah, volunteers are always really important part of our work. Right now, I'd say probably 90% of our volunteers are Queen's University students, which is a great kind of resource for volunteering. The challenge there is that their school calendar doesn't align with the school calendar of high school. So they usually finish up really early in the spring, and then we go until June. And so having local residents here in Kingston that volunteer is very, very important. And we've had really good success with, when you think about working with young people, it doesn't have to be a young person mentoring a young person. We have really good connections with older adults or just even adults who are in the professional world who volunteer their time. Right now we have a really good partnership with Rotary Clubs of Kingston who volunteer their time in our spaces, and they find that it's really meaningful both for their organization and for the individuals as well. So we're always looking for volunteers, and it's not just the mentorship in terms of academic supports. If you give us a call, we have a really great idea. Maybe it's a fundraising idea, maybe it's an event. We'd love to hear it and see how we can support those opportunities.
So are the people that come into Pathways, Myles, do they have to be out of high school, not attending at all? Or do you get ones that they're in high school, but they're hating every minute of it, they feel like a fish out of water, they really don't want to be there, or both?
The students enrolled in
Yeah,
Pathways?
yeah.
It can be a mixed boat, for sure.
Yeah.
We have some students that are super engaged in school, and they don't really ever need any academic support. They just enjoy the time they spend there. But yeah, every student's different, and we make personalized plans for different students and what they need. Yeah.
Okay.
Very
Yeah, it's a wonderful program, and I understand the United Way has been a big part of your success. Do you want to tell me about that?
Yeah, the United Way has been in our corner, I like to describe, since day one. They were one of the first organizations to put financial resources towards the longevity of the program. Because like I mentioned, a program starts, and it's happened before in the city, where a really great program starts, it's making good impact, but then due to financial constraints, it shuts down. And so United Way has always been there to say, we want to make sure this program continues. And we've been lucky enough to be a partner agency with the United Way. And so currently we're in the United Way fundraising time, and so we're here today to really just let people know that if you believe in the work of Pathways to Education, if you believe in the success that we bring, we couldn't do it without the support of United Way. And so today is a really great time to talk about how community members can support the United Way through not only financial donations, but connecting with the United Way and seeing how we can build partnerships is incredibly important. But we're very grateful for the United Way and their work. Not only in the financial partnership that we have, but opportunities like this. Like I said, we don't have a marketing team, and their connections and their supports helps us share our story, and that therefore increases impact in the community.
So they're just at the final stage of their big fundraising time, although they fundraise all year, but this is the big push. And so, yes, you've just given us another good example of why we should support the United Way, and I thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you so much for inviting us.
Having us.